What's going on, everyone? Tagupa Troopa coming back at you with another post-draft analysis video. I wanted to look into red-white this time. One of the things that I noticed at my locals is that almost nobody picks red from this set. Red is usually pretty open. I had originally started building off of white, and then realized that red was so open that I kind of wanted to go into a red-white aggro strategy. So let me jump right into the video. We'll start off with the creatures. Whoops. Start off with the creatures. So again, Master Peon Dao. I still love this card. Just trying to get those searches for the equipment, the lessons, the allies. Really helps out with kind of moving your deck along. Sun Warriors. This one was actually really good for the red-white strategy. Creating a bunch of 1/1 white ally creature tokens, and then also getting the Firebending X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Combustion Man. Another amazing card. This one actually pushed through a lot of the control strategies that I was going up against. A lot of people running control just had a very hard time trying to get over Combustion Man, especially it as a 4/6. And then even with it being a 4/6, it's still dealing so much damage to the opponent that they have to pick creatures to get rid of instead of trying to overcome Combustion Man. Compassionate Healer, very consistent card. I saw this card pretty much every single game that I played. Whenever this creature becomes tapped, I gain 1 life and scry 1. Great for just kind of getting the ball rolling, making sure that you're hitting lands consistently, and making sure that you're getting the cards that you need off the top of your library. Wandering Musicians. The nice thing about this one is giving everything a +1/+0 until end of turn whenever it attacks. Wandering Musicians really helps out with kind of building up an end strategy. I think the only downside about it is once you pull it out, your opponent kind of knows what's coming. They kind of know that they either have to get rid of this thing, or they're looking at probably their last turn that they're going to be able to play. And as a 2/5 with 5 toughness, it's pretty hard to get rid of most of the time. Avatar Enthusiasts. This one is another great one, especially when you're creating a lot of 1/1 allied tokens. That really does kind of overcome a lot of threats that you'll run into, and the 1/1 allies entering the battlefield really does help Avatar Enthusiast build itself. Kyoshi Warriors, just another outlet for creating 1/1 ally creature tokens. Water Tribe Captain. So this one's great. Once you've built a pretty good board, you can kind of add the 1+1/+1s. I ended up running 2. I don't think running 2 is necessary. I think the one bad thing is you have to spend 5 mana just to give everything the +1/+1, and it only lasts until end of turn. But this was a great creature to kind of get the ball rolling on that one. Mongoose Lizard. This one was good. I mostly used it for the mountain cycling. There was one game where I ended up pulling this out. I'll kind of show you the scenario. It was a weird scenario where I was about to lose, but I knew there was some way to win, but I'll go over that scenario in a second. Zuko Exiled Prince. So this one has Firebending 3, and then you can exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. One thing I like about this is if Zuko has already been out for a turn, obviously it won't be able to attack because it doesn't have haste the turn that it comes out, but it at least opens up the board to more mana that you have. Also, you start hitting lands a lot earlier with this one, which is nice. I ended up running 2 of them. Porcupine. This one is okay. The nice thing about running this one in this deck was that there were multiple non-creature spells that I could cast, so that helped out a lot. Fire Nation Cadets. This one was kind of on the lower end of creatures that I had. It was still good, but I didn't have too many lessons that I could launch into the graveyard just to get this thing rolling. Last but not least, Aggro Tea Master. Every time I had this card in hand, I just kind of felt like I didn't know what I needed to do with Aggro Tea Master, so I had to do some research afterwards. The interesting part is, so at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. When you do, create a 1/1 white ally creature token, put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponent control. This part is the strong part that I just kept misreading. So put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponents control. So really, it's just going to get a +1/+1 because it will be making it a 2/2 white ally creature token. But what I failed to realize was that you can target a permanent you control, so you could just give them the food token that you create whenever Aggro enters the battlefield. Okay, gonna go over the enchantments. The best of the enchantments that I've run into so far in this set, Team Avatar. Holy moly, this thing overwhelms the opponent so quickly. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. You combine this with Combustion Man, you're pretty much looking at an end game, especially if you have 2 or 3 other creatures on board. The removal part, I used it maybe once, just because I felt that removing their creature that they had was more important than trying to overwhelm the opponent with the +X/+X. But most of the time, I was using the first continuous ability. Kyoshi Battlefan, I talked about this one in the last video. Such a good card overall. If you see this, if there's other cards that are better, I don't see why you'd want to draft this one. But if you can, and nothing else looks better, obviously go for Kyoshi Battlefan. Creating that 1/1 white ally creature token just pretty much turns this into a creature itself, and then it's a 2/1, and then you can start building up with the equip 2 if you need to re-equip it to something else. Twin Blades. So I actually had energy bending in this slot at first and had Twin Blades sideboarded, but then I kind of thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, well, one thing I like about Twin Blades is it has flash, so you can cast it pretty quickly and on your opponent's turn, and it gives a creature double strike. Very annoying because if the opponent kind of doesn't see it coming, your creature becomes super strong, super big. Plus it gets the +1/+1, so the creature's hard to get over. This combined with Kyoshi Battlefan, because not too many opponents are running artifact removal, it makes it really easy to spend 4 mana and make a creature +2/+1. Yeah, most creatures that have the +2/+1 and are already ahead on, you're already ahead on mana, you're looking at a quick win. Sandbender's Storm. So this is one of the other cards that I think is actually a lot better than what I originally thought. So you get to choose one, so that's amazing. You get to choose. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, so you can really get rid of any big threats that you're running into. And then the other ability is Earthbend 3. Lightning Strike, obviously, staple. Cunning Maneuver. This one was another good one, especially when you combine it with Twin Blades. You combine this with Twin Blades, you're looking at a huge amount of damage that you're dealing, especially if you give it a double strike. And then you get to create the clue token, which helps if you need to use up some of the firebending abilities just to sack something and get some more card draw. Gather the White Lotus. I did not find myself using this card as often as I would have liked to. My favorite part was the Scry 2, actually, because whenever I was creating 1/1 white ally creature tokens, if you're getting the 5 to make it even out, so 5 mana for 5 1/1s, that's great, but I found myself with a lot more scenarios where I maybe have 3 white mana on board and or 3 planes on board, and it just ends up being just 3 1/1s, which doesn't really help, but the Scry 2 really kind of makes up for that. How to Start a Riot. This one was great for just kind of finishing out end boards, especially if somebody has a big creature on board, but they don't have any other smaller creatures. Really easy. You give something menace, and then all your creatures get +2/+0, which helped out with kind of ending the game really quickly. Okay, now to kind of go over the lands that I had. So I ended up snagging one of the Sunblessed Peaks. Again, not a lot of people are pulling red, so it's kind of easy to, it was easy at this draft to snag all the reds that I wanted to. Rumble Arena, I talked about this one last time. You get to scry one when it enters, which is amazing, and then it has Vigilance, and then you add one colorless mana, or you can tap one and add and tap this land, and then you add one mana of any color. And then just a bunch of basic mountains and basic plains. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to talk about the scenario that I ran into. The opponent had, I think I had probably 5 or 6 mana on board. I think it was like 3 mountains, like 1 Sunblessed Peak, Rumble Arena, and then like 2 plains or something like that. I can't remember. It was something along those lines. And the board state was I had a Mongoose Lizard on board. Let me move this down just so you can see it. I had a Mongoose Lizard on board, nothing else on board. The opponent had just attacked with all their creatures. Oh, actually, there was other things on board. Give me one moment. This was in hand. This was in hand. These 2 were equipped. So with these 2 equipped, Mongoose Lizard ended up being a plus 7/7, and I had to deal 9 damage in order to win the game. The opponent had tapped out all their creatures in their last combat step to deal, I think it was a total of 9 damage to me, so I had 3 damage on board left. And I had to think to myself, okay, in this turn, I have to deal 9 damage to the opponent with a 7/7 that was on the board. So with these 2 in hand, I was thinking to myself, okay, I could give my creature the +2/+. Oh no, I must have this wrong. I think it was, maybe it was, I think they might have had 10 mana. Because I remember I had to deal an additional 3 damage, and I knew that How to Start a Riot was not going to end up saving me in the end. But after kind of carefully thinking about it and looking through, I forgot that Sandbender Storm gives you the Earthbend 3. And at first I was thinking to myself, well, if I cast the Earthbend 3, the land is just going to enter, and it's not really going to be doing me any good because it will have entered this turn. The great thing for me was I started reading this card again. Target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste. That's still a land. So even though if I had generated it in a land that was already on board, if I had cast that land this turn, it gains haste. So I ended up spending all my mana, or some 4 mana, to cast Rumble Arena, which ended up giving me the game in the end. Perfect amount. 10 damage against the 10 damage the opponent had left over. It's a pretty sweet deal. But anyway, so one thing that I would say is kind of, if you have cards that give you choices, consider all of the choices and all the scenarios that you could run with those choices. Earthbending 3 and having it gain haste was a great addition. Luckily, because the land was already on board, technically it already it could already attack that turn because it's already on board. But the nice thing about Sandbender Storm was I could deal that last bit of 3 damage, since How to Start a Riot was not going to do it for me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I really like the red-white strategy. Very aggressive. The one thing that I would say that makes it a little bit more difficult is sometimes white is a little bit hard to get into in this set, just because it's a very strong color compared to some of the other colors. White blue is kind of the desired color combination, just because most opponents know that blue white has a lot of flyers, which make it very easy to kind of overwhelm your opponent with evasive creatures. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for joining and tagging out.